Good afternoon. I'm State Representative Jocasta Samarripa, and I want to welcome you, bienvenidos, to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I'm so excited right now. I just met Julian Castro, who I hope will be our next president, and so I'm just on cloud nine right now as I speak with you. But I wanted to let you know, because I know a lot of you who aren't from Wisconsin are probably thinking, there's Latinos in Wisconsin? Yes, there are Latinos in Wisconsin. We're almost 400,000 strong here in Wisconsin. We're approaching 200,000 eligible Latino voters here in Wisconsin. We got to get each and every one of them to the polls. We're younger than the national average in Wisconsin, with at least 4 in 10 of us under the age of 30. So we are the future of this great state. And I'm so happy to meet so many Latinos from across this country. And I want to let you know, this is the Unity Lunch. And when I was talking to President Domingo Garcia and Cindy Benavides, we were talking about this Unity Lunch as a Black and Brown Unity Luncheon and the collaboration that we need to have with our fellow underrepresented communities. And we were talking about our African American community and our Latino community right here in Wisconsin and Milwaukee. And it's so important. You know, the Black community here in Wisconsin, we are about the same, approaching 7% of the state's population. And I have the great honor, you know, I'm a history maker myself, and many of you probably heard me say this last night, but I am the first Latina woman elected to the Wisconsin State Legislature. And I have the great honor today of introducing to you the first Black man elected to statewide office in the great state of Wisconsin. And before I bring on the Lieutenant Governor, I want to let you know Lieutenant Governor Barnes served with me as a lawmaker, as a state representative, alongside me before he became our Lieutenant Governor. And we worked together on issues like driver's licenses for undocumented Wisconsinites, on issues like tuition equity for Wisconsin Dreamers, on issues like decriminalization of marijuana. These were the issues that we worked together on. Black and Brown unity as lawmakers, and now Black and Brown unity as a lawmaker and a Lieutenant Governor. And I'm so honored to introduce my fellow Wisconsin history maker, Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes.
En el barrio La Cachimba se ha formado la corredera. En el barrio La Cachimba se ha formado la corredera.
Thank you so much, Representative Samarripa. It was truly an honor to serve in the legislature with Representative Jocasta Samarripa. She is a person who has brought so much to this state. And I was proud to serve as the legislature's chair of the Black and Latino Caucus, and that's where we got to get involved in much of our work. So again, thank you so much for the wonderful introduction. And thank you, LULAC, for having me, and congratulations on 90 years. And I also want to thank you for choosing Milwaukee, Wisconsin, the state that I call home, the city that I was born in, the city that means so much to me. I'm so honored to stand here before you as the 45th Lieutenant Governor. And before I decided to run for Lieutenant Governor, it was with the intention of making this a better place for everyone. Despite the extreme disparities that we face, we are confidently on the right track to making Wisconsin to become a state that can be an example for the rest of this country. And as a leader, it's important that I speak about how opportunity must exist for every person, regardless of race, regardless of zip code, regardless of income, regardless of your immigration status, regardless of how you identify. And when Governor Tony Evers and I first took the oath of office, we decided to dedicate ourselves to helping provide that opportunity to everybody. Understanding that my race, as Representative Samarripa stated, me being the first Black person to hold this office, I know that it is so much more than making history. It's about making a difference. It's about making a difference in the lives of everyone who calls this place home. And the gravity of that moment still weighs heavily on me. The work to form a more perfect union, a union that is free of hate, free of racism, xenophobia, and inequality. We are mid-stride in that march for justice and for equality. And as Lieutenant Governor of Wisconsin, I will march alongside all of you to make sure that we do all that we can to unite this nation. I'm ready to work with others to usher in a new chapter where all people, including my Latino brothers and sisters, are treated with dignity and are able to provide their families and can pursue their dreams like anybody else in this nation. Growing up, my mother and my father, they worked hard, and they sacrificed so much to give me opportunity. I see that as a privilege. My mother, LaWan Barnes, a retired Milwaukee public school teacher, and my father, Jesse, a proud union auto worker, who was my mom was in a union too, but my father, who worked tirelessly at the Delphi Corporation, assembling catalytic converters. And with the work that my parents did, especially as union workers, their story shows that when people come together, be it a union or in community, we can stand stronger than we ever could stand if we stood alone. It was the definition of being united. And that's why today we need of unity now more than ever. We must unite to fight for equity for every child, every family, and every community. We must unite to combat the disproportionate impacts of climate change and how it affects communities of color and low-income communities. We must fight and unite for our right to vote and for everybody to be counted in the census regardless of what this president thinks. We must also fight to ensure that all women have the choice to make their own health decisions. We have to fight for those who are scrutinized because of how they identify and who they choose to love. And we must unite and fight for dignity and justice for the Latinx communities that are suffering at our southern border. We must unite and fight together against these unjust ICE raids that have been planned for next weekend. We must unite and fight so that everybody in every state can have an opportunity to get a driver's license, to get to and from work, regardless of your immigration status. We have to fight for tuition equity, and we have to make sure that our local law enforcement understands that it is wrong to coordinate with ICE. Now, unfortunately, as I sit here and speak today, there are children, parents, grandmothers, and grandfathers who are locked in cages. And our president, make no mistake about it, is holding the key to those cages. Our government is torturing the tired, the poor, the huddled masses who are yearning to be free. Some, unfortunately, even lost their lives at the hands of our government. This is shameful, this is wrong, and it will stop. But some of our nation's leaders use fear, hate, and racism under the guise of patriotism to justify their actions, and these so-called leaders clamor at the idea of some ineffective, racist border wall that will only serve a goal of white supremacy. And despite this leadership in our highest office, we see that when we the people come together, this nation can truly be one that is for everyone. And so through these challenges, we must recognize that we're also living in an era of change, an era where our nation has chosen last November to elect the most diverse Congress ever, a record number of Latinos, of Latinx people who are now serving in Congress, the youngest Congress, the first Native American woman to serve in Congress, the first Muslim woman to serve in Congress. And we also have the most diverse field of candidates for president of the United States in this nation's history. This is an era where people, like all of us in the room, are demanding justice and creating opportunity by coming together. The foundation that LULAC has set for the last 90 years of empowering and building strong communities has helped usher in this new era. From winning court decisions that integrated schools for Mexican children to helping Latino students attain higher education, to ensuring that the Latinx community can exercise their right to vote, your tireless efforts have had a profound impact on this country. And for that, I commend you, and our entire state does the same as well. And during these years, we also saw the importance of the farm, labor, and civil rights movements, and the power that we all have when we come together for the rights of everyone. People like Dolores Huerta, Cesar Chavez, and right here in Wisconsin, people like my friend Jesus Salas, who led the fight for migrant workers in our state and brought justice and opportunity to more people, to all people. And my work is to create the same opportunities for Wisconsin today. And I promise that I will not rest until opportunity exists for all. And when we say all, we have to be intentional about all, because all means all, not just some. Because we can no longer be a nation that leaves behind brown, black, indigenous, and immigrant communities. In the shadows of those before us, we must continue in unity, marching towards equity and justice. Because I believe in the power of inclusion, the power of strength, and the power of unity. But we also must remember that our march towards equality and justice is a journey, not a destination. A journey to recognize that all of us have so much more in common than we have differences. A journey to come together and see that each of us have equitable opportunities for success. A journey to make sure that we are a nation that lives up to its promise of the Declaration of Independence, where all are created equal, where all are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. This is a journey that includes everybody, especially our black, brown, and indigenous communities, because we are the future. During this fight, we will address it with vigor to take on all the inequities that divide us, to ensure that women and children have access to the care that they need, to see that our environment is a priority not only for us but for future generations, to make sure that all of us are counted and included in the decisions that will shape our lives, to make sure that everybody has a seat at the table, to end the crisis at the border, and to give our asylum seekers a pathway to citizenship and the safety that they deserve. And during this fight for equity, I encourage you, I beg of you, I plead with you, please do not grow tired, do not grow weary, because there's somebody counting on all of us. Somebody who can't be in this room today that is depending on our work, that is dependent on us to never give up the fight. So continue to make your voices heard, continue to be engaged, continue to remain vigilant, continue to keep all elected officials accountable, including myself, because together we can and will make this nation a place where everybody, regardless of who you are or where you're from, will have the opportunity to thrive, because no law-abiding citizen should have to live in fear. We should have no more bodies in the Rio Grande, like Secretary Castro said. This is America, and as Langston Hughes said, America has never been America to me, but I swear to my oath, America will be. Thank you so much.